If you were out on the streets of Phoenix, Arizona, and you were talking to someone, an ordinary American on the street, and you told them about Mao Zedong, what do you think is the biggest misconception out there?
They don't know. They just don't know.
They simply don't know.
We have completely red-washed education, as I say. In other words, it's been washed by the communists to hide the history of communism in the United States. And so they don't know. They know that he was a dictator in China and that he was a communist, and that's about it. They've never heard of the Great Leap Forward. They don't know about the Cultural Revolution. They've never heard of the Red Guard. They don't know what happened to the Red Guard after Mao was done with him, after he deposed Li Shaoqi. And so they don't know the story. And so if I talk to the average American, I'm telling them a history lesson.
And how is that generally received?
Shock. People's eyes.
Shock.
Yeah, well, they see it immediately. Unity, criticism, unity becomes we just want a place where everyone feels like they belong, but we've got to criticize the racists and transphobes so everybody feels welcome, so we can have an inclusive space. And they immediately see this is the same thing. This is a cultural revolution.
I see a strong connection between the messages that the film is delivering with the new federal state of China, and that our mission is to take down the Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah.
And in order to take down the Chinese Communist Party, a crucial element from my perspective is knowledge, and the delivery of knowledge is education. And I see your film as a critical part to the education path of ordinary Americans. What do you think is the biggest factor in educating the American people on the atrocities and the evilness of the Chinese Communist Party?
We actually have to just teach the true history. We have to teach real subjects, real math, real reading, real literacy, true, again, history, the history of communism. We teach the history of fascism and Nazism in the West. We don't teach the history of communism. People don't know any of this, so we have to teach that so that people know how to recognize it.
Why do you think that is?
I think that the communists in the West took over American education 50 years ago and have kept it out.
Do we see any evidence of that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The whole, what they call critical turn in education, which comes off of a Brazilian Marxist named Paulo Freire, that took place mostly in the 1980s, so over 30 years ago. Well, Paulo Freire, it turns out, in his book Pedagogy of the Oppressed, which is his biggest, most famous book, says in a footnote in the first chapter that his model's based off the education system from Mao Zedong in China.
Right.
So it's right there.